This is Comic Shenanigans, episode 1139, Marvellous Beginnings, Spider-Woman, Black Cat, and Alistair Smyth.
Ain't no stopping them shenanigans. Love getting into shenanigans. All up in them shenanigans. 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 Shenanigans.
Welcome to the Comic Shenanigans podcast. I'm your host, Adam Chapman. This is episode 1139. It's a Marvellous Beginnings. It's something new we're trying. We're going to look at 3 different characters' first appearance. I'm going to welcome my co-host, Zach Chapman. Zach, welcome to the show.
The best co-host. No competition.
No competition.
Maybe with Nate.
Okay. Yeah. So,
what are we looking at?
Well, so this is interesting. So I thought, we were going to record because Nate was unavailable. I'm like, you know what? Let's do something fun, just you and me. So I was like, pick some characters that we could do the first appearances. So you actually had full reign to pick any characters you wanted.
I had a lot of different choices, but then I realized that I'd read some of them. Some of them were just like panels of them, not really full appearances. Or like the end of a comic appearance, So
we're going to start in February 1977. So this is 6 years before I was even born. We're going to talk about Marvel Spotlight number 32. This is the first appearance of Spider-Woman. Now, essentially, from what we know, Spider-Woman was mainly created just to get the copyright. So they had a character with the Spider-Woman name. In some ways, it's surprising that they didn't already have a Spider-Woman, because Spider-Man had been around 15 years, but now they're going to get the copyright on Spider-Woman. So they introduced Jessica Drew. Oh, I don't believe she's actually called Jessica Drew in this story.
She isn't. Her origin is very weird.
Well, her origin is also changed in her next appearance.
Yeah.
Because they were like, well, now that we're going to use this character ongoing, this is a little too batshit. It doesn't make a lot of sense. My son just gave me a face because I swore.
It's supposed to be PG here.
So you had never read Jessica Drew's first appearance?
No. I've barely even read anything about her. I've seen her in some of the things she appears in, like Spider-Man or, I think, Avengers stuff.
Yeah.
Or that's the other Spider-Woman.
No, they've both been in Avengers at different times.
A lot of Spider-Woman.
So when I was a kid...
Only one Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's right. Well, not anymore, Miles.
Well, no, he's a Spider-Boy. No, that's Bailey Briggs.
Yeah, exactly.
Now what?
I love that you know Bailey Briggs.
He's so cool.
So it's interesting. So when I grew up, Julia Carpenter was my Spider-Woman. She was the one who wore a costume that looked a little bit like the black costume. She appeared in Secret Wars, actually technically predated the first appearance of the black costume as Spider-Man. Well, first appearance in Secret Wars, that's a whole other thing. So I didn't really know a lot about Jessica Drew. And I remember reading the New Avengers by Brian Michael Bendis, and he brought a Spider-Woman into it and really played up the fact that she was like this former secret agent, also a Hydra member. So that's definitely what we get here. We get Jessica Drew operating as an agent of Hydra.
Oh boy.
But really kind of leaning into some bad tropes. Like she's not even really there directly from Hydra. She's there because she thinks that Hydra stole her love. And it's very, sexist in that way. It's very, they manipulate her to fall in love with this guy so that if he ever gets captured, they can send her, to go to rescue him in a shwibble to, demolish S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't love that idea. And it's interesting because in some ways it's almost more of a Nick Fury story because Nick Fury is more of the hero, so to speak.
Also, her design has changed drastically from how I know her today.
Yeah, well, she wears a similar costume.
Yes, similar. She has no hair sticking out, and her mask is very different.
Yeah, so overall, I'm curious about your thoughts. So this is written by Archie Goodwin, who was also the editor. It's got artwork by Sal Buscema, who recently passed away, and Jim Mooney, who would have done the inks. I would say, for the most part, it's a really well-told story. It's simple, clean. It's just... the art is good. It tells a very clean story. I do find the overall story to be silly, though. Again, it feels like a story about a character that they were never intending on using again. They just kind of used the character. This is like a splinter cell of Hydra that we never hear about again. None of this matters. It's just kind of a random story. Again, it's in a Marvel spotlight that's had a bunch of other kind of random type of stories. It's hard to look at this and even imagine at the time this is going to be a character we're going to use again.
Nope.
This is going to create their own legacy. This character is going to be around for a long time. You don't get any of that here. You get the idea that this is kind of a done-in one. What were your thoughts?
I thought that it was a good comic. I mean, it's not the Spider-Woman I know, but it's, like, she still has most of the same powers. I'm pretty sure all of the same powers.
Same powers, yeah. Like, you still know Jessica Drew.
Yeah, I know Jessica Drew.
She's just not written like the character you know.
No. I mean, I did like the twist at the end where it's like, spoilers, by the way, just in case, where it's like, you were made from a spider. It turned into a human. It's like, whoa, okay, that's...
Yeah, it's super weird.
Wow.
It's one of those things, too, that Marvel...
But also, why does she look like a human?
Well, because that's what the High Evolutionary does.
Like, why? Because like, there's cow and, like, people.
Yeah,
they look like cows.
But they even say that he, like, made her different, and then she was ostracized by the other Animen because she didn't look like them. Like, it's interesting...
That's some crazy... Like, that's like, some racism there.
I mean, there's a lot of lore that they kind of build in. Like, even the idea the High Evolutionary is involved, because it's Marvel, they have to say, like, oh, by the way, this is before his first appearance. Like, he's doing other stuff.
Other stuff. Just some shenanigans.
So, I mean...
Some comic shenanigans.
So this is the question I always ask Nate and Paul when we do episodes. So you read this appearance of Jessica Drew. Does it make you want to pick up the next appearance of Jessica Drew? Not at all.
No.
So it doesn't really make you want to kind of read more about the character.
No.
Not at all.
No.
So
not interested in this character anymore. I mean, like, I'm a little bit interested, but I don't know if I'd go out and seek the next issue, so to say.
No. Okay. So you wouldn't seek it out. Now, based on this issue, in general, do you have an interest in Jessica Drew?
I don't know. I mean, she's cool, kinda. She just doesn't do much all the time.
No, it's interesting because originally I think you had mentioned maybe us talking about the other Spider-Woman, Julia Carpenter, but it's an issue of Secret Wars and she's barely in it.
She's in there for like 5 seconds.
Yeah, it's like maybe a few pages.
Isn't it like Nightcrawler that's like, hey, and they leave?
Perhaps. That I don't recall. So this didn't really make you want to read more, but it wasn't like bad, but also it was just kind of there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice filler comic.
So let me ask you a question. So sometimes we break it down this way. If you had to rank the story out of 5 and the art out of 5, how would you rank them?
Well, I'd say the art's a 5 because I do love that old style.
The old style.
Sorry.
Part of me has my heart breaking, but also agrees.
The old style art. I mean...
So you really like the art?
Yes. No one's too detailed or not detailed enough. The environments are cool. Mm-hmm. And I think they do all the power... when she uses her powers really well.
Yeah, there's a lot of good action. Yeah. There's a
lot of good backdrops.
Yes. Sal Buscema as well, in terms of his character acting, he really plays things up. So everything is big. Like, when he punches, it's the biggest punch.
Yeah.
And you get a lot of that here. Okay.
And the story, I have to go maybe a lackluster 3.
I would maybe even give it like a 2.
2 to 3. 2.5 maybe.
Like, I think overall I'd probably give it like a 5 or 6 out of 10.
We're not doing 10 though. You said we're doing it out of 5.
Yes. In my mind, I add together the 2, and then I have an out of 10.
I don't like that.
You don't
I don't like that one bit.
Okay. We're going to jump ahead 2 years.
Yahoo!
Now we've got Black Cat.
Oh, right.
So, what made you pick Black Cat?
I mean, I have been going back and reading Spider-Man again. Mm-hmm. Not from the beginning, just some more Spider-Man.
Okay.
And he appears a lot.
Yeah.
And even when he's married. And they still flirt, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So I just thought it'd be good to see how she first appeared.
Okay. So this is Amazing Spider-Man 194. It's written by Marv Wolfman. You got artwork by Keith Pollard and Frank Giacoia. Now, it's technically part of like a two-parter. Like, did you read the second part or just the first part?
Oh, I only read the first one.
That's okay. It gives you a lot. So it's interesting. So these comics are wordy. Like this comic, like...
Oh boy, this was the longest to get through.
So it is interesting because they come from a certain school of thought. Like they're almost putting in too much. It's interesting. So just like the last issue we read, Marv Wolfman is both on script and on edits. So he's editing it and he's writing it. And there's a lot of prose here when we could just kind of watch the character do stuff. And there's there's a tendency to be overly
Yeah.
wordy, and this issue definitely succumbs to
Definitely
that.
shows that, yeah.
That being said, there's certain elements, and this is actually something I had asked you. I told you should read Jed McKay's Black Cat run, which I have in omnibus. In that run, and I completely forgot because I forgot about this first appearance completely. The two characters that are helping her show back up. They're back.
Like, what?
So there's two characters that she's
Yeah,
working
I know.
with here.
I know that.
Dr. Boris Corpse, and then the other one, I forget the name of them.
Wow, the other one.
I know. And Bruno.
Disappointed.
And anyways, they're back. They're working for her again.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Does that not make you a little bit more interested now?
A little bit. I mean,
Because here she has
I thought they were just thugs.
they were, but they're her crew. But they're only in these two issues.
The Black
from
Cat
what I
walks
know.
alone.
She doesn't completely work alone. This felt. I mean, I love Spider-Man comics in general. It's funny. I read this issue and then I kept going till about 213. I haven't stopped yet, but I'm just kind of reading forward. It's interesting to read this issue because they're introducing a brand new character, but because this is Spider-Man, there have to be a lot of plots. So you have the idea that there's a scam going on at the old folks' home.
Oh boy, that was a lot to take in.
There's the burglar who killed Uncle Ben. He's back, and he's trying to get in on something. You have Betty Brant dealing with Ned Leeds and wanting to be with Peter, and then Peter is trying to figure out how to kind of get himself out of that situation. Jonah's going a little bit haywire. He's being extra angry. You have Robbie Robertson. It leads up to him kind of leaving. So there's so much going on.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's working at the Globe, but also hanging out at the Bugle. He's dealing with Barney Bushkin. And then you have this new character who, Spider-Man tries to, fight kind of sexist-like he's trying to take it easy on her, but she's just really messing with him.
No spider sense, apparently.
No spider sense. Goes in for a kiss in the first appearance, no messing around.
Apparently. It's
hard not to be this is just Catwoman. Obviously, they do other things with Black Cat, but at the beginning, it definitely has that sense. What did you think of how she was written here? How she's a bit of a thrill seeker, but also, she's trying to rescue her dad from prison who's dying.
That's his dad. That's her dad.
Yeah, Walter Hardy.
I missed that.
So, and they kind of play with that in the Spider-Man animated series in the 90s, because we also see that, and that's actually how she becomes Black Cat there. It's still influenced by her dad. That's what she was trying to do. I mean, I guess if you did not read the second half, here you see that they're trying to rescue someone, and the next issue you find out that it's her dad.
Got it. I feel like if I read this issue, just going in, if I was a youngin', back when this came out, and I went down to the old dollar store, I'd have bought this with my nickels.
Okay, hold on a second. It's not at a dollar store. It would be at a grocery store or a convenience stand.
Sorry.
I'm just saying. It's so comic stores didn't really exist. You're going to somewhere else. When I was a kid, even in the early 90s, you would go to a grocery store and you'd have a spinner rack there. So you go to a spinner rack, you see this. What do you think?
I feel like I'd pick it up. I'd look at it. I'd examine it. I may flip through. And then I think I'd buy it. It looks like a good issue.
Okay.
The art's good.
So it looks like a good issue. Is it a good issue?
Yes, it's a very good issue. I feel like if I read this coming into Spider-Man, as I said, I feel like I'd search out for more of these types of comics.
Okay.
With these characters, because these are good. I'd search for more issues of Black Cat. Okay. I feel like she's written well here. She is very different than her modern, because her modern appearance, she just wants to find gems.
Oh yeah.
This one, she sneaks into a police place at the beginning of the issue.
Yeah.
That's not something that she usually does.
It's interesting, this one, again, she's a master thief. They kind of establish that, but she has an ulterior motive. She has something she wants to do. Yeah. She wants to rescue her dad and bring him home because he's dying. And she wants to see him before he dies and make sure her mom can see him. So there's something there they're adding an extra element, which I do think adds a little bit more sympathy to her. And at the end of the next issue, we think she's dead. Spoiler, she's not. Yeah, Spider-Man thinks she's dead.
No, really?
And she comes back not that long later, so obviously Marv liked using the character, and then readers would really gravitate to her, and so she was the romantic interest for a while. Spider-Man was just dating her, but she didn't. The whole plot twist later on is that she likes Spider-Man but not Peter. Although this version of her here is a little softer than maybe she becomes. But I really dug this as well. This was fun. The art was good. It wasn't the best
I don't
Spider-Man
know.
art.
Her design feels different.
How so?
Like,
they've tweaked it over the years.
Yeah, but like I feel like she doesn't usually wear a collar.
No, that's true.
Her hair in the first panel, especially, maybe not in later parts of the comic. Her hair is more like
It's straighter.
yeah, and a little bit blue.
I think we're used to it being more like, not
It's
curly per se, but it's kind of like rogue hair, where it's just kind of
Yeah.
out and about.
Just out and about.
It's like a big mane of hair, but
Yeah.
it's a lot more tame here. Just an interpretation of the artist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this was
It was a fun read.
So you would read the next issue, and well, you
Yes.
have read the next issue before, but you have, right? You've read all of Amazing Spider-Man,
Yeah, I have, actually.
so you have read it. It's just been a while.
Yeah.
Okay. And now with this, I guess the big question is, you've read this issue. I have an omnibus that says Black Cat on it.
Oh, boy.
Would you pick it up?
Yes.
Okay.
I would, and I would right now. The only problem is, while I was reading Spider-Man, you told me to read Earth's Mightiest Heroes Avengers
Oh, well, in
Assemble.
general.
And you were like, hey, you should read this. I was like, fine, I'll read it after Spider-Man. I start doing that. I'm still reading Spider-Man, and you come up to me with an omnibus for Black Cat.
Yes.
And then I still am reading Spider-Man. It feels like whenever I'm reading something, you offer me something new.
I mean, I want you to read everything, but yes, that probably is not incorrect. Although Spider-Man was a reread for you.
Reread.
You had read it before.
Check out that episode where I talked about Spider-Man.
Right? Okay, so that was Amazing Spider-Man 194. And now the next one, so what made you pick Alistair Smythe? You were reading
he's
Spider-Man comics.
He's different than I remember him.
Yeah.
I like the Spider Slayers. There was one, I forget what comic it was, but he was in like this dungeon with Jonah. Mm-hmm. They were going through their Jonah's life story.
Yes.
And there was the scorpion at one part. They were chasing him, and he found the old Spider Slayer, and he was playing with it.
Yes.
And I went, yeah, I remember the Spider Slayers, and I really do like the idea of a Spider Slayer.
Okay.
They keep evolving. They get better. They get harder for him to avoid and to beat. And they're always piloted by Jonah. Well, almost always, as we'll see.
Well,
And many times.
the original
before.
ones, it was really just the original.
Yeah.
Because then you had Spencer Smythe did it, and then obviously you have Alistair. And now Alistair in the modern comics, like you've seen him, he becomes the ultimate Spider Slayer. He keeps doing things to himself.
That's the version of him I know.
Yeah.
I also know the version from the cartoon.
Yes, and so this one is a soft. Sorry, the one in the cartoon is like a softer, gentler version of this one.
Yeah, he's just
Like this one. So first of all, I gotta say, so this is Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 19. So what, 2 before the wedding? I'm trying to remember which one was the wedding. Louise Simonson is credited with the script, Mary Wilshire on breakdowns, and Pat Redding on finishes. This book looks different than almost every other Spider-Man comic I've read. I would say it has a very different visual tone.
It does.
Like, even from the first page, like, Spider-Man's kind of swinging in, but you don't get the sense of him swinging in. He's just kind of...
His webs just look weird.
Yeah, like, it's a weird sense of motion. I don't know Mary Wilshire's art from anything else, so I don't know, what else they had done. It's very quirky, but doesn't always have a great sense of motion to it. But sometimes it looks really cinematic, like we're reading it digitally right now. On the 4th page, you have this shot of Spider-Man, and it's kind of almost like, we've seen him, he's blue in other panels, but this one, it's more of a black and red, and it's really arresting, really striking visual. The way that Alistair Smythe looks is very much like this is someone who's, I guess the stereotype of like, kind of the loser doesn't leave his basement.
Not trying to offend anyone here.
He's kind of like an incel. Like he's.
I would say, I've watched videos on the internet.
Okay.
And the term.
This is a YouTuber.
No, the term I get from this is Valorant player. Now, you don't understand what that means. It's a very competitive game where people are always. There are sweats, and they do not come out of their basements.
Okay.
And they just play and play and play. This is what I'm getting from how he looks. Not trying to be insulting, he just looks like he's written that way.
I mean, he is drawn that way, and I would say he's definitely written that way, and it's an interesting perspective on this guy who I would have to go back and check. Like, I don't know if we ever heard that Spencer Smythe had a son, but the idea that this guy venerated his dad but wants to be better than Daddy and keeps calling him Daddy, and also keeps calling himself Smythe. Like it's a very interesting version of a character. I'm not surprised that they used him again. In fact, I believe they used him the month in the storyline where MJ and Peter get engaged. So it's interesting that he's kind of here when they're not together yet, or not really back together. She's still struggling with understanding that he's Spider-Man, which definitely is an interesting timestamp for this issue. Again, it was... Overall, I thought it was fun. It was a little silly because it's all about, this hat from Web of Spider-Man, that Spider-Man did everything he could to rescue this hat that he was on his way to bring it to Aunt May, and then he fights the Vulturians, and so it's the idea that, a bug or a tracking device was input in it, and finally it's activated so that Smythe can find, what he has deduced must be the aunt of Spider-Man, so he can, lure Spider-Man and be able to stop him. It's kind of funny that, of course, when he's tracking the hat, Aunt May is with Aunt Anna and gives her the hat to try on. I mean, it's very funny. It's interesting, too. MJ ends up being captured here, and, I think maybe a year or two before this, she was captured by the Hobgoblin when she was with, what's her name? Liz Allen, when she was giving birth to their baby. And, that was, a stressful, she was scared, thought she might die. You never really worry about her here, because she's not really worried about it. She's worried, but, not
she's
super
just,
worried.
She's not worried enough. She's worried, yes, but she was also not worried enough not to try to trick him.
Yeah.
She does so many, tricks, and he just does not get it till, the last one.
No, because he's kind of a loser, right? Yeah. And she's like, I just need to keep him talking long enough to get Spider-Man's attention.
I'll show you where my exosuit is.
Yes.
Oh, it's over here. Don't you want a camera for that, though? We can go here.
But I do again, it shows MJ being smart. She's thinking, and she's like, this guy's obsessed with technology, so I'm going to make him think that it's technology. I'll make it interesting enough, because he's deluded enough to convince himself that MJ must be Spider-Man. So, which is, again, it's a very famous cover, because it's very arresting.
Superman, kind of.
It's very, very much. And you see MJ taking off, opening up her coat and seeing a Spider-Man costume. If you're walking by and see that on the stands, you're like, wait, hold on a second, what is happening here? Even if you don't know Spider-Man, you're like, well, that's not Spider-Man. That's definitely not a man. So what's going on here, right? So it's got this great visual.
It says the Amazing Spider-Man.
It does.
Not the Amazing Spider-Woman.
And so I love that she's smart enough to try and figure out how she's going to get out of the situation. Obviously, eventually she does need Spider-Man to save her, but she's very much taking an active part. She saves Aunt Anna, or at least is trying to do everything she can to do that. So I thought this was a lot of fun. Again, future versions of Alistair Smythe build on this, but I think they also kind of lose him being this kind of loser. He's definitely scarier later.
Yeah.
He's much more credible as a threat. He's, transformed himself. We see versions of that in the animated series in the 90s as well. So I think he gets a lot more credit later on. Here, he's a little bit more forgettable, a little bit more pitiable, but he makes an interesting issue because, he's just so broken that he must prove himself.
Yeah. I also do like that there is a little bit, something about J. Jonah Jameson in this. It's only one panel, but he's getting really mad at Smythe after he broke a window in his building, and Robbie's like, Jonah, that's Pete's girl. He's got Mary Jane Watson, and then the look of not terror but shocked on Jonah's face in the next panel. He's like, oh my lord, Robbie, you better call the cops fast. His entire mood switches up when he realizes that.
Absolutely, you're right. That's very true. You're right. That is so much good acting there. Thank you for calling that out. What I do think is hilarious about that, would he not have called the cops if it wasn't someone he knew?
Wow.
Right? That's what it makes it sound
true.
like. It's oh no, I know this person? Well, we better call the cops.
He also does say later, I'm pretty sure he does say later, that he's taken Peter under his wing and he's grown to like Peter.
Okay.
So I guess this is that shining through a little bit.
I guess. Now, again, from an artistic standpoint, again, I do think that the artist did a great job on Alistair Smythe, because every time you see him, he looks unhinged, and like some of the details on the mouth.
Has not showered.
Yeah, he looks unkempt when he opens his mouth, and his like something about his teeth and his eyes, like he just looks.
Makes me want to vomit.
He looks creepy.
Yeah.
And so I like that. Again, even though it's not your typical maybe comic book art, maybe it's not your usual house style, there's a lot to enjoy here. Now, there's also some weird angles with Spider-Man that don't necessarily make a lot of sense. A lot of the action is just like the Spider Slayer, kind of zooming through New York, and MJ just kind of dangling and talking. And
whoa.
yeah, and I would say at times like that maybe could have been, a little bit better illustrated, but overall I thought this was fun. And it definitely made me want to see Alistair Smythe's next appearance to understand, like, the evolution of the character. Because when I think of the character, I remember him in the 90s. I remember him in around the Superior era. But I don't remember this version as well.
Yeah.
So I would like to kind of get a listing of, like, all of his appearances and kind of trace his evolution and change throughout time. Because he definitely changed in a big way from this guy, because this guy, you don't really take him seriously. I mean, he's scary, he's still in a giant robot, but it's later on he becomes like an actual credible threat.
I also do like how they deal with him. It's like they lead him to the train tracks, and then he starts getting electrocuted. Spider-Man's like, Smythe, what have I done? What did I make him do? And then the police officer are like, Spider-Man, it's okay. We see him. He's alive. Just leave him there.
Yeah, he's moving.
Just leave him in the electricity. He could be getting jolted, and that's why he's moving. Doesn't matter. He's fine.
I mean, this guy who's not even a police officer.
He is a police officer. Oh, no.
He's Amtrak security. Amtrak is a rail company.
Yeah.
So he's a rail security guard. Apparently knows enough that this thing must be super insulated, and that's why the guy seems to be alive.
I was like, that Spider-Man doesn't even, he doesn't really fight. He's like, you don't need me here then? And he's like, nah, it was self-defense. You got tons of witnesses. And he's like, great, there's someone I'm real worried about. And then he just swings off. Does not care about Alistair Smythe.
No.
But 3 panels ago, he was screaming his name, thinking about what he did to this poor man.
True. But yes, well, yeah. No, it's very funny. He has a very quick heel turn. He just kind of leaves, which is not that Spider-Man of him. But also, he's always being pulled in multiple directions, so that part is very apropos. This was a lot of fun, Zach. I'm curious next time, I don't know when it will be, but at some point I'd love to have you do this again, where you pick 3 random characters.
X-Men characters.
X-Men characters could be fun.
What's the name of the guy who can copy the X-Men's power? He was in the original.
Oh, Mimic.
Yeah, I love Mimic.
Yeah.
I just want Eunice. Just everything from the classic era.
What I love, Zach, is that you're like, oh man, I love the 60s X-Men. I'm like, this says no one ever. Because a lot of people don't like it. The book was canceled for a reason. It was put into reprints only until someone resuscitated it, gave it CPR, and made it one of the biggest franchises in comics. Yes, they did. They made it one of the biggest franchises in comics. But the version of the X-Men that you love got the book canceled.
Wow, that's not very nice.
And
the writers got the book canceled. Hello.
I'm not even buying the epics of that. I don't find the need to read the first 66 issues.
Wow, but their costumes are so cool.
I mean, I do like them.
The Unison.
Unison. No, you mean something else.
I probably do. Yeah.
They're matching costumes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what the word is, but yeah. Anyways, okay. So next time we'll have you back. Maybe we'll talk X-Men.
Maybe it was Fantastic Four. Maybe Avengers. We'll never really know.
I mean, we will know when you're on the next episode.
Hush. I didn't ask.
Got it. We're talking about Hush. Okay.
But no.
No, we're not talking about Batman's villain?
No.
Okay. Well, thank you for listening to this episode. You can email us at comicshenanigans@gmail.com. You can rate the show on Apple Podcasts, listen to us on Apple Podcasts, and also listen to us on Spotify. Thanks again. We have great episodes coming up. So you got to stay tuned and get those episodes. We have an upcoming episode with Alex Segura. We also have an upcoming episode with Pat Olive and Adam Glass talking about Rough Riders, as it's been, I think, 10 years since that book came out. So a lot of good stuff coming up, and thank you so much for listening to this episode. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.